Doing dhyan in the nature is one of the best way to reach to the samadhi state. As I go deeper in the presence of the birds, the trees, the wind, the sun, the earth, constantly reminds me that these are the elements responsible for making my body. Since I eat the food derived from the earth, and there is a continuous cycle of new cells being made and the old cells dying. There is a continuous change in my body. With every single breath, I take billions of molecules in and I let billions of molecules out. The existence, a solid existence of my body comes into question. Is there anything like solid body? And yet we maintain the I all the time. I am this and I am that. This is the fallacy of our language. There is nothing like I. Our body is made out of 5 elements: the earth, the fire, the water, the wind, and the space. There is nothing else in the world that we can see, touch, hear, understand. And each element has a great characteristic. So if we divide our body into these 5 elements, which we do have in different proportions, and if we really brood over this, think in depth about all these elements, we have those elements within our body. And if we understand the characteristics of this body versus characteristics of these elements, there is a vast difference. So, who created that? These are the fantasies of our mind. Mind is over and beyond our nature. Our basic nature is there, based on this basic nature of these elements. But we go over and beyond. Likes, dislikes, hatred, anxiety, stress, greed, anger. All these are created by the creation of the ego, the I-ness. We are nothing but combination of 5 elements which have constituted this body, which itself is continuously changing. And whenever the need for this body is not there anymore, it will be, all the elements will be dissociated as they are associated right now. The dissociation of these elements will go back to these 5 elements of the universe. And the body that in fallacy kept on saying I will disappear, except in the minds of few people. It shows how silly I-ness is. The I-ness is a total illusion. And in this illusion we live for the whole life. When a child is born, he does not even have his own identification. Psychologists say he focuses on the mother first, the mother who brings the food, mother who supplies the needs for his body, takes care of him. So she becomes identified first. And as the time goes, if you ask the child whose toy is that, he or she will say his or her name. I always ask my grandson, whose toy is that? He will say Nikhil's toy. But that lasts up to a certain age, 2 years, 2.5 years. And then the I-ness starts, because he or she realizes that this figure who supplies me all my needs keeps moving around, but the body that is in front of me does not move, so it must be separate than the mother who is supplying me all my needs. So with no other recourses, and since the parents and grandparents and all the concerned people from the society, since they kept on telling him that you are this, you are this, you are this, with a continuous bombardment of these suggestions, ultimately becomes the ego. The I-ness starts. But what is I when there is a continuous flux of elements making your body and breaking your body with a continuous change? I-ness has a questionable value. I-ness has a value from the society point of view, so that we don't create confusion. Someone will have their name, but only the individual person will not have a name, so that the language can be developed around this. So the fallacy of the language is responsible for creation of this ego, fighting for the ego, killing for the ego, possessing for the ego. And the whole crux of spirituality is to understand the wastage of life based on such a simple problem that we have created ourselves. This I-ness is the cause for destruction of this universe, destruction of the pleasures of your life, because along with the I comes the likes, dislikes, possessiveness, everything. But if we go into the depth, we realize that it is the same 5 elements that's constituting your body is going to leave your body and constitute someone else's body. There is no I-ness in these elements. These elements have been there for billions of years, and they will be here for many more after we are gone. We have no independent existence. We are totally dependent, whether it's the President of the United States or a Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great. Everybody has to depend on these 5 elements so that they can create their ego. How silly is that? So knowing these elements and understanding their interplay, it will make sense to live without the I, and along with that likes and dislikes and all the negative tendencies of the mind can disappear. If we look at the nature of the elements, it will be easy to understand what is supposed to be our nature. Look at the earth. It takes the weight of billions and billions of people, animals, plants, trees, and yet you can do anything to the earth. So if we can learn from the earth to be simple, enduring all the sufferings of life without any complaints. There is a beautiful word called titiksha. Titiksa is ability to endure the hardships of life without having even a little bit of inclination to change these circumstances to your benefits, because to do that will constitute presence of I. So development of titiksha is to accept all the events of life with total silence, is a great characteristic to have, and you can relate to the nature of the earth, who is in 100% perfect titiksha state. Next is the water. The water flows. The nature of the water is to give coolness to others. When the thirst arises, the quenching of the thirst by the water is the property of the water, to offer coolness and satisfy your thirst. So if we can make our nature to offer the coolness to others, even if they bring their anger, representing the illusions of their ego, if we can give them a calming effect. If they bring anger, if we can give them love, I'm sure things will be different for them and for you. The coolness will be within you, and someone else will get the coolness also, the taste of one of the 5 elements, the water. The whole life can be different if we all can understand. And that's within us, these elements. So it will make it easy to relate to them and become like them. The fire is represented by the sun. Sun is a continuous worker. It shines all the time. It does not never shine. It's 24/7. It continuously gives out the heat, the vital heat for the life sustenance on this earth and maybe beyond. Sun has 3 mottos. No vacation. It never takes off. Hard work should be the motto of our life, without any expectations. That's the second characteristic of sun. Sun has no expectation from anything. Whether you give the offerings to the sun, or throw mud at the sun, hate the sun, close the doors, go to sleep, the sun doesn't care. It does not need any reward, or does not get affected by punishments, so-called punishments from others, because it has the greatest characteristic, which is the third one, is no discrimination. Sun does not discriminate where its fire will extend to, where its energy will go to. the smallest earthworm to the most hardened criminal, to the emperor or to the president. The sun is the same for everyone. If we can live like sun and be the same to everyone, offering our hard work, love and energy to all without discriminating, our attention gets discrimination. We like some people, we don't like some people. The awareness that's within us is the ultimate sun that we have. And this awareness, if we can offer to everyone without discrimination, no discrimination based on color, race, age, our likes, our dislikes, regardless of all this, if we can offer our awareness, recognition and love to all, we can be like sun. And the ultimate element, before we do that, there is another element, is the wind. There is a lot to learn from the wind. Wind is in a continuous motion. It never remains steady at one place. That itself constitutes the wind. If we can learn how to become the wind, we will never get attached to one person or an object or a situation. We will be in a continuous flux, synchronizing with the consciousness. Consciousness never attaches itself to any one creation. It always destroys the creation and then creates something new. There is a continuous change. Wind never gets attached to any one place. Same way, if we look at the life as a continuous change and remove our attachment to any of the object, person or situation, we can mimic the wind. To have a nature of the wind is within us. So remain detached to the worldly situations, people, objects. And the biggest element of all is the space. Space is Akash. It gives Avkash to all the elements, the rest of the elements. Even the movement of wind can take place only if there are objects, space, the emptiness between the objects. But the shunyata is, or the space, is the ultimate element which gives existence to all the elements and all the interactions of them to create this beautiful illusion of life. So the job of spirituality is to make you merge into this vast, infinite element of the space, the emptiness. Even if you take all the objects, the material objects away, what stays behind is the shunyata. And in this shunyata is where we merge. Shunyata is infinite. Shunyata is where all the concepts of the earth, the fire, the wind, everything merges and disappears into this vast abyss of unknown or unknowable, Agye. That's where all the drama comes to an end. That's where the buck stops. So if we can transcend all the elements, first by adopting nature of those elements, you don't need Patanjali, you don't need any exhausting literature, you don't need scriptures, you don't need hours and hours of discourses. If we can understand the nature of 5 elements and ultimately become shunyata. Ultimately, you reach to the same goal where all the biggest Atmas did. Mahavir, Buddha, Krishna, Christ. They all achieved the Shunya state. And that's all we are looking for, is the Samadhi state, which is a witness of all the interplay of the lower elements, as in succession. The lowest is earth, then there is water, then there is fire, then there is wind, and then there is space. Each element becomes bigger and bigger and more expanding, from the solid, the most solid earth, all the way to the emptiness, the shunyata. So if we can understand the interplay of these elements, the first thing we have to let go is the I-ness, and then behave according to the each element that's within us. That is our nature, and ultimately to become Paramatma at the shunyata level, as a witness of everything. At the witness level, there is a sthita prajna state, and you merge into it. That's the ultimate goal of human life, because only we are capable of going through this journey within our mind through meditation. So understand, learn, observe, progress towards only one common goal, the shunyata. Because at shunyata level, there is no you, there is no I, there is no differentiation, there is no hatred, there is just one existence, existence for all. And that's where our mental journey comes to an end. We merge with total consciousness. Have a good day.